Welcome guys, this is our third and final part of the final study guide. So let's go ahead and get started. Describe the four segments in a triangle, draw a picture for each segment. What is the center of concurrency for each? Instead of you wasting time watching me, I'm going to pause it and just put it all in and then restart. Okay, so I wrote them in. I just showed what one of them looked like instead of drawing all the pieces, but here's a median. A median goes from a vertex and it cuts the other side in half, and it's called a centroid if you have three of them. And altitude goes from a vertex, so when it goes from a vertex, I'll put green on it, so it has to go from a vertex for the median and the altitude. This one hits 90 degrees on the opposite side, and this one hits in the middle. An angle bisector simply just cuts the angle in half. It doesn't have to hit in the middle or anything like that. And the perpendicular bisector doesn't have to go through a vertex at all, but it has to hit the middle, and it has to hit it perpendicular. Okay? So there you go. 46, it asks you to go ahead and graph this to find the slope of a perpendicular bisector of xz. Well, you actually don't have to graph the triangle exactly how it asks you to, because we just really have to come up with a basic understanding. Perpendicular bisector of xz is essentially going to be perpendicular and cut it in half. Okay? So that's what we know. And we're looking for the slope. So if the slope of xz was 2, the perpendicular bisector is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So really, I just have to find the slope of xz. So we'll go ahead and do that. x1, y1, x2, y2. Here's our slope equation. Let's plug it in. Negative 10 minus 8. 4 minus a negative 2. So those become positive. This is going to become negative 18 over 6, which is going to become negative 3. So negative 3 is our slope, but we want the opposite reciprocal of that, so we're going to do a positive 1/3. The next one, again, we don't have to graph it for word. We just need to go ahead and draw the picture. Find the coordinates of A if ZA is a median. Remember, a median goes from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So we know that A is in the middle of XY. So we really just have to take a look at XY and find the midpoint. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2, and we should be able to get our midpoint. So that's going to be negative 2 plus 6 divided by 2, and then that's going to be 8 plus a negative 2 divided by 2. That's 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And that's going to be 8 minus 2, which is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So we should get 2 comma 3. All right, this last one here on this page lists all the angles in order from least to greatest. And we have our perimeter. So let's go ahead and set all the three sides of the triangle up. I'm going to draw a triangle right off to the side real quick. A, M, K. It doesn't matter really the order. And let's go add them all up. Sides always add up to equal perimeters, which we don't know unless they give them to us. In this case, they gave it to us. So we're very grateful. So let's add them all up. We got x, 2x, 3x. That's going to become 6x. 12 and a negative 7 and a negative 3. I believe that's going to be a positive 2 equals 32. Subtract the 2 and 6x equals 30. X should equal 5. Okay, that's great. I need to now know what side's the largest. So we're going to do AM. That's 5 plus 12. That's going to become 17, so AM is 17. This is going to be 2 times 5, which is 10, minus 7, so 3. MK is 3. And then we're going to do 3 times 5 over there, which is going to be 15, minus 3, which is 12. That was 17. Okay. All right, so our least angle is going to be opposite of the 3. So, sorry, move that over. A is going to be our smallest angle. And then we're going to go with M. and then we're going to go with k. All right, so we use the perimeter to find x, plug x back in to find the side lengths, and then opposite, the smallest side is going to be opposite the smallest angle, and so we kind of just took that pattern. So here we're doing the same problem. This time we have all the angles, so we can go ahead and draw our triangle GFH. We know angles always add to 180 in a triangle, all three angles. We're going to get 3x plus 20 plus 2x plus 9 plus 4x minus 11 equals 180. Add them up. 4x, 3x, 2x, that's going to give me 9x. 20 plus 9 is 29, minus 11, 18. Subtract 18 from 180. We get 162. Divide by 9. X equals 18. Okay? So knowing that, we can go ahead and plug in our angles. 18 times 3 plus 20. So angle F is 74. 18 times 2 plus 9 is 45. And then 18 times 4 minus 11 is 61. Okay, now we're doing sides. So this, from least to greatest, so the smallest angle is 45, so the smallest side is FH. Then we have GF across from it, and the biggest is going to be GH. Okay. Number 50, name the longest side in the diagram. First we got to find the other angles. So 50 plus 60 is 110, so this has to be 70, and that would be 65. So let's find the longest in this triangle. So the longest in this triangle is AC. The longest in this triangle is going to be AB. Okay, so the two longest, the answer is either AB or AC. A lot of people will say, well, 65 versus 50, AC wins. Actually, AC loses. And the reason why, if you actually cover this up, you see how AC is in this triangle? Okay, AC is a part of both triangles. So when we looked at just this triangle, and I said AB was longer, that means AC is smaller than AB. So our overall answer, we know that AB is greater than AC. So that's how we know AB is our winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay. Determine if the sides below will form a triangle. Well, the way we do this is we take the two smaller sides and see if it's bigger than the third side. So I'm going to highlight all the small sides. Okay, a lot of people think it's the first two that you see. Not always true. In this case, for the most part, it was. But we get 3 plus 8. If we add that together, we get 11. Is 11 bigger than 12? No. 11 plus 11 is 22. Is 22 bigger than 18? Yes. Okay. 1 plus 2 is 3. Is 3 bigger than 3? No. 3 is not bigger than 3. 8 plus 8 is 16. Is 16 bigger than 8? Yes. So no, yes, no, yes. There we go. If a triangle has a side length of 7 and 16, the third side must be between what? Remember, the easy way to do this is the max is a positive, the minimum is a negative, so we're going to add the two numbers. So 7 plus 16 will give us our high end. And then 7 minus 16, or probably should do 16 minus 7. We don't want a negative number here. And we get 9. Okay. Describe the properties of parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus. I'm going to leave these. That's more definition problems. You guys can do those. And a square, I'm just going to go straight to the problems. All right, so here we have a parallelogram. Find the measurements of the missing angles. In parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent, so that's going to be 84. Consecutive sides add to 180, so this would be 96, and then that would be 96. And then these two angles right here are linear pairs, so that's 84. And since these are parallel, those two angles would also be alternate interior. So now let's just fill in, make sure we got it right. 96, R84, RTC 96, RTY 84. Okay. Cart is a parallelogram. AR, CT, RT, and AC solve for x and y. We get x plus 13, 4y minus 11, 2x plus 7, and 2y plus 1. This is a systems of equations, and I'm going to go ahead and use some extra paper here to help me do this, but we have two equations. Okay, and both equations, I'm going to label this equation 1, and then equation 2 right here. Okay, so these two equations we can't solve by themselves, but together we can. And if I, in fact, change this equation, number 1, this is just an arrow, by the way. Sorry, it's a funky looking arrow. I don't like that arrow. Don't be so funky looking. Okay, can I redo that? It's still kind of weird looking. Anyways, that's an arrow. And if I subtract 13 from both sides, this equation does become x equals 4y minus 24. Okay? Now I know this, I can actually plug this in for that x. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 2 times 4y minus 24 plus 7 equals 2y plus 1. And I should be able to solve. Distribute the 2, I get 8y minus 48 plus 7 equals 2y plus 1. Combine like terms here, we get 8y minus 41 equals 2y plus 1. I'm going to subtract this 2y over here to get 6y. I'm going to add 41 at the same time over here to get 42. All we have to do now is divide by 42, and we get y equals 7. Now that I know that, I can go ahead and plug y back into one of my original equations, number 1, but it's changed a little bit. And we get x equals 4 times 7 minus 24. That's 28 minus 24, so x equals 4. So those are my two answers. If you need to, pause that to get all that work done. That's some good work right there. Okay, moving on. 59. ABCD is a rectangle. BE is 7. Find AD. Okay, this one's pretty simple. BE is 7, but remember, these are like all isosceles triangles. So that's 7 too, that's 7, and that's 7. They're all 7. So AD is just 7 plus 7, it's 14. Okay. You might recall, actually, some of these questions were straight from our quiz that we took. So, very similar. I'm going to zoom in real quick on this one because it's kind of hard to see. Angle 1 is 42 degrees. And I'm looking for angle 11 and angle 3. Okay? Well, remember a rectangle, which this is, these two angles should add up to 90. So I'm going to go ahead and take my calculator. Hopefully you can see that it's from my problem before. I'm going to do 90 and I'm going to subtract 42. And we get 48. So 48 is this degree here. Again, remember these are isosceles triangles. So 2 and 3 are going to be congruent. And now that I have that, what I can do is I can go ahead and say, all right, 48 plus 48 is 96. I'm going to take 180 and subtract 96, and that should give me angle 11, which is 84. Okay? So there it is, angle 11, 84, angle 3, 48. All right. Angle 6 is right there. Angle 5 right there. Those two angles, it's a rectangle, have to add up to 90, so that's all we do. Combine like terms, 10x. Negative 16 and a positive 16 and negative 66 is going to be a positive. Nope. I'm starting to lose my marbles here. Negative 50 equals 90. Add the 50 over, we get 140. X equals 14. 62, math is a rhombus. MPH is this angle here. So we know that the diagonals are perpendicular, which means it's 90 degrees. So we set equal to 90, subtract the 12. 6x equals 78. And then divide by 6. And we get x equals 13. ATP is 36. Solve for MAP, so I'm looking for this angle here. Okay. Well, I know this is a 90 degrees, so if I do 90 plus 36 plus x equals 180, I'll get this angle here. So this will go for this angle here. Okay, so 90 plus 36 is 126. Subtract, and I should get 54. So 54 goes there, and if you recall in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect, so this angle here is also 54, which is our answer. Alright, last problem, real math problem here. SR is 17x minus 39. TY, notice TY is only half of it, okay? TY only comes up halfway, versus SR is the whole thing. So TY and SR are not going to be congruent, but TU would be congruent. So if I double TY, then they're congruent. So we can solve this problem. We get 12x plus 16 equals 17x minus 39. Okay, subtract 12x from both sides, I get 5x, add the 39 over there, and I should get 55, and x equals 11. Okay, then we got to plug it in to find TU. So TU is equal to 12x plus 16. So 12 times 11 plus 16. Let's do that all on my calculator. 148. Last one, describe the properties of an isosceles trapezoid. This is vocab. Base angles are congruent. Legs are congruent. Diagonals are also congruent. Peace. We out.